All right, eating more of my ferments. It's turning into the fruits are turning into more alcohol now, and impairing my best judgments, I think. I kind of like it though, because it's also relaxing. It may be impairing, but it's also relaxing too. But it tastes like I've tasted white wine before, and the taste of when these fruits, and it's largely apples. Well, the bagged fruits, so the frozen fruit section, the mango, strawberries, bananas, and apples, oranges, various berries. The dark colored berries. I've had those. I don't know if those really ferment much the way I like. But it seems like everything pretty much is fermenting, and right now the way it's tasting is like a white wine, and I'm enjoying it a lot. It's really going nuts. It's since I keep a lot of fiber. I keep the fiber, all the pulp. You call it pulp, the orange pulp, whatever. All that pulp I keep. I don't want to toss it. I don't want just liquids, okay? So I'm eating it a lot, and there's alcohol in the pulp too. There's still sugar in the pulp, so I figure might as well keep it all, because I'm essentially trying to improve my digestion, but I'm getting drunk off of the process, and I have to say, I like it. And initially, I don't understand this. I kind of suspect maybe the apples or the acid in the apples, but I was complaining about my sore throat right about here. And now that's kind of gone away. And I question, could it be a kind of scab? When you get callus, kind of like calluses that you get on your hands. Can you get callus on your throat? Because I'm not feeling that so much anymore. Now my concern is just drinking too much, getting too much alcohol, and impairing my ability to drive. I gotta consider holding off on my fruit ferments if I want to drive, and that's something that I now gotta consider. Make sure that I don't consume any an hour or two before I drive, because it's slowing my reaction down. But I like it. It's really separating fruits from veggies, from the cabbage from the apples is a good choice, because you get different acids. It's like I ate almost a whole chicken yesterday, and I had that all with my sauerkraut, my fermented cabbage. It didn't get me drunk, of course. And then I switch over to my fruit ferments and get drunk. So it's interesting how the fruits really do. They go crazy anyway. They're a crazy fermentation process. That one actually overflowed. I got like juice on the bottom. I gotta make sure they're not completely full, and that I stir them often. People say you need the airlock. You need to airlock is the big one. Make sure everything's submerged or something. I just make sure I stir it down. That's like my biggest concern. I got to keep stirring the pulp down, because it'll overflow. It's like all those air bubbles are pushing that pulp up at a rapid pace, especially when I get fresh fruit in there. And I'm constantly putting things in, and I'm trying to put different things in every time. I got pears on standby. I just put some bananas in, just rotating the fruit through. So I'm trying to be healthy with this, but it is turning it into a white wine too. It's quite interesting. I had kind of a headache yesterday from all the drinking. And I'm limited to 2 jars, so I can't really overdo it. But I am considering a 3rd jar now. I kind of want a 3rd jar to at least let one ferment a little bit longer, because alcohol is supposed to turn to vinegar at some point. I'm not sure when, but it turns to alcohol in a matter of days. And this whole thing, I started out with, and I don't even think it's really starting it out, but I started with a combination of apples and cabbage in water, just letting it soak, no salt. I don't bother with that. And it's turned into alcohol. It started out maybe with lactic acid with the cabbage, and now it's just straight up alcohol, which I don't have any complaints. My liver feels good. In fact, my liver feels better consuming the ferments, getting drunk off ferments, than I did having sugars by themselves. It almost seems better to consume partially, or at least fully, digested sugar by the bacteria, by the yeast and all that, and to consume the yeast. It almost seems healthier to go through the process of fermentation before eating any fruits. I don't know. Every so often I'll have a fruit by itself, but it seems like it's mostly fermentation fruits now, the fermentation process, and I'm really enjoying it. Next, I want to experiment with herbs. I'm looking into what herbs go good with wine. I did toss some turmeric in with the orange ferment. I can't say I'm that impressed with that taste. I want to add more herbs if it's possible. Something that'll lighten up the taste, change the taste of the fruits a little bit. I don't know. The fruits are fine by themselves, but this is a real good process, and I highly recommend doing it. You just get jars. You invest $10 for 2 jars. These dark colored ones. That's what you're paying that $10 for. Otherwise, they're like $1 each. But to get the amber, so you don't get all the light filtering in, that might be helping the fermentation. It's just preventing light too. These hot summer days, I'm sweating, but I'm not being affected by this heat as much because of the alcohol. The alcohol really helps me deal with the heat. So that's interesting. That's like, wow, it makes it even more appealing to consume this fermentation just to deal with the heat. I couldn't deal with the heat before. And then in the winter time, maybe I won't consume as much because the cold weather will prevent fermentation anyway. So I'll be back to more sugars. Just for looking at it in a natural sense, living in my car. So just making an update on the experimentation process, and it's going good.